The historical divide between East and West Germany is still experienced every day by Berliners. There are relics across the city that reminds us of the not too distant past. I'm talking about this little green man when crossing the street, or the color of public lighting. And of course, there's this continuous cobblestone line across the city where the wall once stood. What you see behind me is also one of those relics. And it also tells the story of how a single man defied overwhelming odds. In August of '61, a barrier made out of barbed wire was set up overnight, effectively splitting the city in two. That was the start of what would become the Berlin Wall. And it happened here also along Bethanien-Damm. But here, for some reason, an anomaly happened. We don't know if it was an oversight, but the border didn't go according to plans. The construction workers cut corners and did not include a small patch of land along the street, going straight across instead. For the decades to come, this triangle of East Germany was stuck in West Germany. Nobody could use that 350 square meter patch of land. The West couldn't get to it, and the East didn't have right to use it. So that's why pretty soon after, residents started to use it as a junkyard. But this changed in 1982, when a man called Osman Khalid moved into this neighborhood. He decided to clear the pile of rubbish and instead plant a vegetable garden like the one he had in his native Turkey. But by then, the border had become a fortified wall, complete with watchtowers and patrols. 2 weeks after first starting his garden, he received a visit from an East German patrol to check that he was not starting a tunnel under the border. When they realized that he was just starting his own garden, they let him stay, provided that he would stay at least 3 meters away from the wall. And that's where it gets good. Soon after, West German authorities also paid him a visit, asking him to evict the facilities. But he naturally refused, and the East German authorities, having witnessed that exchange, officially granted him the permission to use that land. I love this, the pettiness of men. He soon became a familiar presence, and he was chatting with guards, sometimes giving them onions from his gardens. And over time, he started to build a whole shack from reclaimed materials. I will probably sound like a broken record by now, but I never realized this thing was there, even though my office was just next to it. So I've been biking past this thing 100 times, and I never realized what the story behind this thing was. Oh, and I can totally confirm there is still a vegetable garden now. I've seen some pretty nice tomatoes and I think what was cucumbers. When the wall eventually fell, Khalin's garden was suddenly part of Mitte again instead of Kreuzberg. And soon after that, he received an eviction notice from the local council. Because if it was an urban legend here, he was just an unknown squatter for the people in Mitte. But soon, local residents would rally against this decision, with the local church here even providing a document from the 18th century stating that this land was in fact part of church land, granting him a right to stay. In the end, the council gave in and officially redrew the border between Mitte and Kreuzberg. And that's how, for the next 20 years after that, Osman Khalin was allowed to quietly grow his vegetables and build his house. He died at age 96 in 2019, and since then his son has taken over the estate and hopes to turn it into a museum. And this has proven a bit hard because real estate developers are very keen on empty patches of land. But still, the resistance is going strong and there has been talks of building a museum in this location. And as far as I can tell, there's actually construction on the way for that. I hope they are successful in that. You know, I just love this story, and it's why I love this city so much. There are stories everywhere around us that are still so vibrant and young. Small stories of normal people fitting in a big history with a capital H.